Thanks again for joining us for Reentry Week 2021. My name is Silas Darden, and I have the privilege of serving as the Deputy Director for Policy in the Bureau of Justice Assistance. Today I will be providing you with an overview of Reentry Week. BJA Second Chance Act programs are designed to work across the reentry continuum and in topics that intersect with reentry. Each day of Reentry Week, we will emphasize a different topic or set of topics. That said, we know you're busy. Much of the content is available now, so I encourage you to dive in when you can and take a look around the newly redesigned National Reentry Resource Center website at reentrymatters.org. Don't forget to register for the live components we'll broadcast each afternoon. Over the course of the week, we'll talk about employment and education, behavioral health and housing, youth and families, the experience of people in reentry and working in reentry, and evaluation. As we plan this week and develop content with partners, one thing stands out. This is not a conversation about investing in systems. It's about investing in people. Reentry matters, and investing in people improves reentry. Today our focus is on employment and education. Most people in prison have a high school diploma or equivalent at most. They are eligible for post-secondary education but are not engaged in it. Post-secondary education increases employment and earnings. It provides people with skills employers are looking for. It also decreases recidivism. Post-secondary education is cost-effective, offering a 400% return on investment for taxpayers. That's $5 saved for every $1 spent. Today you will hear how institutions of higher education and correction agencies must work together to expand access to high-quality education pre-release and support continued education post-release. Related to that, people leaving prison and jail face significant challenges to securing living wage employment, and the challenges are long-lasting. People who were at one point incarcerated have lower employment levels and earn less than their counterparts who have never been incarcerated. This holds true after controlling for education, work history, and a host of other factors. Researchers estimate incarceration reduces hourly wages by 11%, decreases employment by 9 weeks, and lowers annual earnings by 40%. These impacts have cumulative effects over the course of a person's career. Transitional employment programs have been shown to reduce recidivism by 22%. More stable career-oriented jobs with a high occupational status have an even stronger effect on recidivism outcomes. Today, we will share strategies and programs that prepare people in prison for meaningful, stable jobs in the community. Tomorrow, we will turn our attention to behavioral health and housing. Around 50% of prisoners meet the criteria for substance abuse and dependency, yet fewer than 20% receive treatment in prison. Nearly 2/3 of people in jail meet the criteria for drug dependence or abuse, and short jail stays make meaningful treatment engagement difficult. Additionally, more than half of people in prisons and jails have mental health problems or symptoms. The overlap between substance use and mental health problems is great, and the proportion among women is even greater. Prisons and jails have become some of the biggest mental health and substance use treatment providers in far too many places around the country, and still, people cycle through the doors with needs left unattended. Corrections agencies and communities must have the right resources to meet these needs. That requires data to quantify the needs and programs suited to address them, and a sufficient number of program slots in accessible places. Programs must exist in a way and in a place that people who need access to them access them. Reentry Week will focus resources to get these on track, including the use of technology and telehealth and the expertise of peer recovery support specialists. We'll also look at housing insecurity and homelessness, which can destabilize the entire reentry process. People who have spent time in prison or jail are 10 times more likely to be homeless than the general public. Access to permanent, affordable housing is essential to reduce future justice system involvement. The most effective permanent housing programs follow a housing-first approach, which prioritizes providing placement and stable housing without preconditions as a foundation for meeting other goals, such as treatment, engagement, employment, and more. Tomorrow you'll hear about how communities are using creative funding models to increase the number of units available for people with criminal records. That brings us to Wednesday. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention has put together a jam-packed schedule of content about youth and families. The national juvenile incarceration rate has been cut in half over the past 2 decades, and juvenile arrest rates remain historic lows. But improving the juvenile justice system requires more than incarcerating fewer youth. Success means ensuring that the youth receive supervision and services to avoid further contact with the system and transition safely to adulthood. Additionally, the criminal justice system touches millions of families. An estimated 1.7 children have at least one parent currently in prison, and millions more have a parent currently in jail. Even more children will have a parent incarcerated in their lifetime. Investments in youth and to preserve positive family connections can yield positive individual and societal benefits, reduce recidivism, less intergenerational criminal justice system involvement, and promotion of healthy child development. On Wednesday, you'll hear how these efforts require a coordinated approach across juvenile justice, criminal justice, child welfare, human services, and education systems. Next up is Thursday, and this is the topic I'm most excited about. The title for Thursday is Making Reentry Work, and we're shining a light on people who have lived the experience of reentry, people who work in or with the criminal justice system in support of reentry, and community-based organizations who are the lifeblood for so many people returning to their neighborhoods across the country. Reentry begins at entry. It begins with what happens inside facilities. Historically, the missions of corrections and community supervision agencies have focused on containment and control to protect the public and institutional safety. Today, rehabilitation and reentry support are core responsibilities of those agencies. The shift means overhauling correctional culture. On Thursday, you'll hear how one Department of Corrections is doing just that, including changing their considerations for staff recruitment, retention, and development, and they're sharing their tools. You'll also hear the importance of reentry programs operated by community-based organizations. BJA funds programs that begin contact with people prior to release and may focus on housing, parenting, employment, education, mentoring, or treatment. Many community-based programs recognize the value of engaging peers in the reentry process. Often, the most meaningful reentry supports come from people who themselves have been involved in the justice system. Many of the experts you will hear from are people directly impacted by the criminal justice system talking about their experiences navigating and working in reentry, including the Reentry Week podcast series. On Friday, we'll take a more quantitative approach and consider the value of evaluation. Research and evaluation can help you make your program even stronger, make funders more confident about funding your program, and support your program's long-term sustainability. We'll review concrete strategies to begin and improve evaluation and to maximize the benefits, and we'll do it in an accessible and straight-to-the-point format. That's an overview of what you hear during Reentry Week. I want to echo Acting Director Mahoney and thank our partners. Many thanks to the National Reentry Resource Center and our partners at the American Institutes for Research, Vera Institute of Justice, Council State Government's Justice Center, RTI International, Just Leadership USA, and the American Probation and Parole Association for joining us. Don't forget that we also want to hear from you. Tell us why reentry matters to you by posting with the hashtag #ReentryMatters on social media. Share your story, your program, or your resource and raise awareness about why reentry matters to you and your community. Thank you.